Hi guys, welcome to another episode. So today we're going to be talking about Final Fight versus Streets of Rage. Yeah, it did sound funny in my head, but now I've said it out loud, it isn't probably not that funny. But anyway, I've done a lot of research into this and watched many videos to find out who is really the true champion of the battle of these beat-em-ups. So today I thought I would give them both a playthrough and see which one I had more fun with. I'll probably come up with the same conclusion, but let's face it, I had a lot of fun playing these games and making the video. So let's get on with the battle of who will win Final Fight versus Streets of Rage! Now, we're going to break this down into 4 sections: presentation, graphics, sound, and gameplay. So the intro to Final Fight starts off something like this. Metro City is well known for crime, but there's a new mayor in town, Mike Hagar, a former street fighter, and he plans to change this. But he has one problem on his hands: the Mad Gear Gang, who are causing disruption in the city. They're gonna do whatever it takes to bring Hagar down. One day, while busy doing mayor stuff, Mike Hagar receives a call. It's the Mad Gear Gang, and they have kidnapped Jessica, the mayor's daughter. He's given an ultimatum: look the other way and let the Mad Gear carry on doing crime in the city. Mike, being a former street fighter, does not take this lightly and sets out on the streets of Metro City to get his daughter back. The good news is Cody, a close friend of Jessica, gets wind of this and joins Hagar, so together they can take on the Ruthless Gang. Now overall, I found this is a good introduction and sets the scene quite well. You know exactly what is happening and gives you all the details you need to know. It's got great music and great graphics, and you can't wait to start beating the enemies up. So next up, we've got the introduction to Streets of Rage, and it goes something like this. It was a peaceful city until one day, a powerful criminal secret organization takes over. The vicious syndicate soon take full control of the city, even including the police force, and the city is no longer a safe place to live. 3 ex-police officers that have not been turned by the evil gang set out to clean up the city and rid the streets of evil. They're willing to risk everything, including their own lives, in the Streets of Rage. Straight away, I think the music sets the scene on this one and is very atmospheric. It also goes on to explain the different players and the backstories to each character, giving you more of a feel as though you know them personally. I think this is a good touch for a beat 'em up, and straight away you get an idea of which character you would like to play. Final Fight was known for having large sprites in the arcade, and they were ported over to the Super Nintendo very well. They're not arcade perfect, but they're very close when compared to the original version. They still have a lot of colour and are quite large, with all the enemies present and well animated. You have the enemies popping out from the doors in the background, and there are objects to interact with and smash while moving through the streets. All of the end bosses are present, apart from Relento in the industrial stage. As you know, that one has been cut. The backgrounds are very detailed and colourful, with only a few differences. Now fair enough, the SNES does have 32,000 colours to choose from and can have up to 256 colours on the screen at once, giving it a big advantage over the Mega Drive. So overall, I think they've done a great job porting this one over to the Super Nintendo, keeping a lot of the content very close indeed to the arcade. So next we're going to take a look at the graphics of Streets of Rage. Straight away you can see that the sprites aren't as big as Final Fight on the SNES, but they're very well animated and still quite colourful. The backgrounds are very detailed and give you a sense of what the streets really feel like if you were there. This too has opening doors and enemies coming for you from the background, and there are also objects to interact with, such as phone booths, boxes, tables to smash, and even air vents to punch if there are any in your way. There are a variety of backgrounds, such as the main street which you start on, a beach that every now and then it rains, which I think adds a bit of charm to the game, an industrial area where you are moving platforms and to hold you back if moving in the wrong direction, and even a lift stage where you stand near the edge and grab the enemies, you can keep throwing them off the edge of the lift. Now overall I think this is just because the sprites aren't as large or even as colourful, it does still have a lot of detail in the graphics, where well animated, great backgrounds, and give the Super Nintendo a good challenge. So we're going to move on to the sound and music, and both games had some really great tracks and really fit the beat-up genre. So I've just handpicked a few of my favourites, so let's have a listen. Now both have really great music, and a big shout out to Yuzo Kishira for the Streets of Rage tracks as well. He did a fantastic job with them. So let's move on to the next section. So we're going to have a look at gameplay for both games now. So in Final Fight there were 2 players to choose from. Each character has several moves to perform to help you beat up the opposition. Both have the standard punch and jump moves, with the added special move that will consume some of your energy if you manage to hit any of the enemies while performing this. It's also very useful for getting you out of sticky situations that you find yourself surrounded by the opponent. Hagar, being a wrestler, had several throws to choose from, such as the backdrop and even the suplex, which does take a lot of energy off when successfully doing this move. You have a wide range of weapons to pick up when you smash crates or phone boxes, such as a pipe, a knife, or even some food, which will help you restore health. The enemies come in many forms, such as the standard thugs that come from all directions, a guy called Hollywood who runs onto the screen and throws a stick of dynamite, but be careful, as if it hits you, it'll cover you in flames. There's also giant wrestlers who go by the name of Ondor, whose really bad habit of choking you or throwing you into the air and taking a huge amount of energy off you. The bosses are varied each time with a series of skills to challenge you, and these will not be beaten easily, ranging from a samurai who will meet you in a ring and has 2 katanas. These need to be knocked out of his hands as soon as possible, or if hit by them, take off a fair bit of damage. There is a policeman who is top dog on level 3 and has a club and a gun. If you get close to him, he will hit you with his club, but if you stay far away from him, then he'll draw his gun and start shooting at you, resulting in you losing a lot of health. There is Abigail, who is the boss of level 4, and he will charge at you and take off a hell of a lot of damage if he hits you. Then there is the end of game boss, who starts off in a wheelchair and has a crossbow. The moment you hit him, it will knock him out of the wheelchair and he will start firing his crossbow in all directions. This can be very difficult to dodge and even harder to get close to him. After losing several lives and eventually getting his health down, with the last punch you'll knock him out of the window and hear his screams as he plummets to the ground. You finally save Jessica and the credits start to roll. So finally we come to Streets of Rage, and one of the many good things about Streets of Rage is it's a 2-player game and there are 3 players to choose from. Adam Hunter, whose hobbies are growing bonsai trees and practicing kickboxing, Axel Stone, who likes to play video games and practices martial arts, and Blaze Fielding, who likes to dance and practice judo. All the characters have standard punch and flying kick moves, with a few extra individual moves for each, such as Axel's backhand and Blaze's chop. You can have 2 players simultaneously, which comes in handy as you can team up and use a 2-player attack on the enemies. Each character also has a special weapon they can use, 1 per life. They can call upon a teammate who strolls up in a cop car and shoots a bazooka into the air, landing a series of fireballs around where you're standing, and this can help you get out of sticky situations if you find yourself being overpowered by the enemy or even surrounded. You start off in the downtown streets, moving across the screen as enemies approach you and try and slow you down, getting you to the end of the level. As you get to the end, the music goes quiet and the boss music starts. There are a wide range of end level bosses and the stages vary on each level. Such as level 1, where you start off on the main street and at the end you will have to fight Antonio, who is an 8-foot punk with a boomerang. As you move on to level 2, now this is a dilapidated street and you end up fighting another rebel who has long Freddy Krueger claws and moves very fast, and you're unable to dodge his attacks. On level 3 it's set on a beach, and at the end you fight a guy called Abaded, who is a giant barbarian wrestler. Level 4 is the bridge stage, and this is quite handy as every now and then you come across an opening in the bridge, and if you time it right you can throw your enemies down the holes. At the end of the level you have to fight a guy called Bongo, who is a big bulky guy that breathes fire at you and is very hard to dodge. On level 5 you find yourself on a boat and moving towards the end and having to fight 3 Blaze Fielding lookalikes who are extremely hard to hit and will throw you the moment they get close to you. Level 6 is the industrial stage, and as you move through you will come across moving platforms to slow you down and dodge industrial machines that crush you. At the end, you'll have to fight the Freddy Krueger-like characters again that move across the screen very fast, only this time there are 2 of them. On level 7, you'll find yourself moving up the tower on a lift. Now, if placed correctly, this can be very beneficial to you, as you can keep grabbing the enemies and throwing them off the edge. Once you get to the top, you'll just move into the building, as there is no end level boss to defeat on this stage. Finally, you're at the Syndicate headquarters and moving from right to left this time. Now, be careful, as you do not have a special weapon this time, as the cop cannot get up to the building, so you're going to have to rely on your fighting skills for this one. When you get to the end of the level, you'll see Mr. X, who is the final boss. He's sat on his chair and will ask you if you want to be his right-hand man. If you answer yes, then he tricks you and sends you all the way back to the beginning of level 6. If you answer no, then he will order his thugs to try and take you down. After defeating wave after wave of enemies, he will then get off his chair, pull out his gun and start shooting at you. He is quite fast, and you will need to dispose of the other enemies first to even up the odds. Now, Mr. X's bullets are hard to dodge and can take off a lot of energy, so be prepared to lose a lot of health and many lives. Once you defeated him, he is then flung into the air and bullets fly all over, and lets out one last cry as he falls to the ground. You have once again made the streets safe from the evil Syndicate and Mr. X. Now, after playing through Final Fight and Streets of Rage, I found that they both had a lot to offer and are really great beat 'em ups. With great music and great graphics, they both give a good challenge and had a lot of fun playing these to the end. My overall thought would have to be, if you have a SNES and like beat 'em ups, then I recommend Final Fight is one for you. But the same goes for Streets of Rage. If you like beat 'em ups on the Mega Drive, then get this one. I would have to say that if you are anything like me, then don't judge them as the same game. Get them both and appreciate them for the games that they are. Why should you lose out on a quality title just because someone has said one is better than the other? Why not have them both? And on that note, I'll have to say thanks for watching, stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you soon.